The rejection comes on the night of the blood moon, in front of the entire northern pack. She stands in the center of the great hall, human soft and trembling, while her fated mate, the alpha heir, circles her like she's something rotting. His wolf recoils from the bond, snarling at the wrongness of it. The pack watches with barely concealed disgust. "You were supposed to be wolf," he says, voice carrying to every corner. "Instead, the moon mocks me with this." His hand gestures at her like she's evidence of cosmic cruelty. She can smell his rejection before he speaks it, bitter, metallic, final. "I, Ronan Blackridge, future alpha of the northern pack, reject you as my mate." The words crack through the bond like breaking bone. She gasps, doubling over as phantom claws shred something vital inside her chest. The pack doesn't look away. They want to see her break. But as she lifts her head, blood trickling from her nose, something flickers behind her eyes. Something ancient and furious that the moon herself placed there. They will regret this night. They just don't know it yet. The northern pack has ruled these territories for 2 centuries on one principle: strength is law. Alphas choose strong mates. Betas breed with proven bloodlines. Omegas serve until they're useful. And humans? Humans are prey, servants, or mistakes, never mates. When the moon bond snaps into place between the alpha heir and a girl who can't shift, who bleeds red instead of healing silver, the pack calls it a curse. She's been with them for 3 years. Found half dead in the woods as a child, she was kept as a servant, tolerated because she worked hard and stayed invisible. She scrubbed blood from training mats, mended torn clothes, and never once asked why she dreamed of running on 4 legs under a moon that sang her name. The mate bond should have been her salvation. Instead, it becomes her execution order. What the pack doesn't know, what even she doesn't know, is that her blood carries a lineage thought extinct. The first Lunars, moon-blessed females who didn't need to shift to command wolves, were eradicated in the ancient wars. Their power was too great, their authority absolute. One survived. And her blood runs in the veins of the girl they just cast out into the dark. The rejection sickness lasts 3 days. She crawls into the forest beyond packlands, every cell in her body screaming for a bond that no longer exists. The phantom pain of severance feels like being flayed from the inside out. She vomits until there's nothing left, then vomits again. Fever ravages her. Hallucinations claw at her mind. On the 3rd night, she drags herself to a stream and drinks until her stomach cramps. The pack hasn't followed her. Why would they? She's human, weak, already dead as far as they're concerned. Rogues will find her, or the cold will take her, and either way, she'll stop being their problem. She stares at her reflection in the moonlit water, pale, gaunt, eyes too large in a starving face. "Why?" she whispers to the moon. "Why bind me to him if you knew he'd destroy me?" The moon doesn't answer. But something deep in her chest shifts. Not the bond that's gone, a gaping wound that won't stop bleeding. This is older. Heavier. It tastes like iron and starlight. She touches the water and watches ripples distort her face. When they settle, her reflection's eyes are glowing silver. She blinks. The glow vanishes. Her hand shakes as she pulls it back. Survival becomes her religion. She learns to hunt with sharpened sticks, to find shelter in hollowed trees, to move silently through territory that wants her dead. The forest is full of dangers, rogues, rival packs, creatures that hunt anything that bleeds. She's been prey her entire life. The role fits like a second skin. But something is changing. Her senses sharpen. She can smell a rabbit from 50 yards away. Hear a twig snap half a mile distant. Her injuries heal faster than they should, not werewolf fast, but faster than human. Cuts that should scar close clean. A sprained ankle rights itself overnight. She tells herself it's adrenaline. Desperation. The body's will to survive. Then she kills her first rogue. He finds her sleeping in a cave, his eyes yellow with madness, his wolf too close to the surface. She wakes to teeth inches from her throat. Pure instinct throws her hand up, not to block, but to command. Stop. The word comes out wrong. Too deep. Too resonant. It vibrates through the air like a physical force. The rogue freezes mid-lunge, his body locking up as if chains have wrapped around him. His eyes go wide with confusion, then terror. She doesn't understand what she's done. She just knows it worked. She finds the old woman living in a cabin at the edge of the wildlands, where pack territories end and no man's land begins. The woman is ancient, skin like weathered leather, eyes milky with cataracts, but the way she moves speaks of a predator who simply chose to stop hunting. A wolf in elder's clothing. "You stink of rejected bond," the woman says, not looking up from the herbs she's grinding. And something else. Something the packs forgot how to smell. She stands in the doorway, ready to run. "What do you want?" "Wrong question, girl. What do you want?" "Revenge. Power. To watch the northern pack burn." But she answers. The old woman finally looks at her. Really looks. Then she laughs, a sound like cracking ice. "You don't even know what you are, do you? I'm human. You're a fool." The woman gestures her inside. "Sit. If you're going to carry that blood, you'd better learn what it means before it kills you." She hesitates at the threshold. "The northern pack thinks you're dead," the woman adds. "You want to stay that way, or do you want to make them wish they'd never been born?" She steps inside. The old woman's name is Mara, and she is the last of the Moon Witches, women who served the original Lunars before the wars erased them from history. "You're not human," Mara says, laying out ancient texts on a table carved with symbols that make her head ache. "You're Lunar-born. Direct descent from the first females, the moon herself blessed with dominion over wolves." She stares at the woman. "That's impossible. I can't shift." "You don't need to shift." Mara taps the text, old language, older than any pack she knows. "The first Lunars didn't have wolves. They were the wolf. The authority. The law. One word from them could bring an alpha to his knees. Their blood could break bonds, forge new ones, command entire packs without lifting a claw. Then why can't I?" "Because you've been suppressed." Mara's finger traces a passage. "Lunar bloodlines only awaken under extreme duress. Rejection, near death, total isolation. The moon doesn't waste her gifts on the comfortable." The words settle over her like a shroud. "The northern pack rejected you," Mara continues, "and in doing so, they triggered your awakening. Every day you survive out here, your power grows. But uncontrolled, it will consume you. You'll go mad, same as a rogue. Then teach me to control it." Mara smiles, sharp and knowing. "Teaching you to control it means teaching you to weaponize it. Are you sure that's what you want?" She thinks of Ronan's face as he rejected her. The pack's laughter. The 3 days of agony in the forest. Yes. Training is brutality dressed as enlightenment. Mara doesn't teach her to fight with claws and teeth, she teaches her to fight with will. Command voice, Mara calls it. The ability to speak and have reality bend to obey. But it requires absolute control, absolute certainty. Hesitation makes it fail. Doubt makes it backfire. She practices on the forest. "Kneel," she tells a wolf passing through. It drops mid-stride, confusion and terror warring in its eyes. "Run," she tells a deer. It bolts so fast it crashes into a tree. Each use leaves her shaking, drained, but stronger. Her body is changing too, not shifting, but refining. Her human form becomes a weapon. Faster. Stronger. Senses sharp enough to track a heartbeat through stone. Mara teaches her the old laws, the ones packs buried when they slaughtered the Lunars. She learns that rejection doesn't break a true Lunar's authority, it frees it. A chosen mate bond is a chain. A rejected one is a severed leash. "You're not bound to him anymore," Mara says. "You're bound to the moon." And she is far less forgiving. 6 months pass in that cabin. 6 months of pain and power and transformation. When she finally looks in the mirror, she doesn't recognize herself. The girl who begged for scraps is gone. If you think her return to the northern pack will be quiet, you haven't been paying attention. She walks back into northern pack territory on the night of the harvest moon, 1 year to the day after her rejection. The border guards smell her before they see her, a scent that's familiar and wrong all at once. Human, but laced with something that makes their wolves whine and flatten their ears. "Stop," one of them barks, stepping forward with teeth bared. She stops. Not because he commanded it, but because she chooses to. "Tell your alpha," she says, voice carrying that resonant depth that makes the air shiver, that his rejected mate has come home. The guard laughs. "The human's dead. Everyone knows that." She tilts her head. "Do I look dead to you?" Before he can answer, she speaks again, this time with intent. "Kneel." The command slams into him like a physical blow. His legs buckle. He hits the ground hard, shock and fury twisting his face. The second guard tries to shift, but she's already turning her gaze on him. "Don't." He freezes mid-transformation, body locked between forms, agony written in every line. She steps past them both, heading toward the pack house in the distance. Behind her, the first guard gasps, What are you?" She doesn't answer. The pack house is exactly as she remembers, stone and timber, built to withstand sieges and dominance challenges. Wolves fill the main hall, drawn by the commotion at the border. She can feel their eyes on her as she enters, smell their confusion and aggression. And there, at the head of the room, standing beside his father, the current alpha, is Ronan. He's as beautiful as the night he rejected her. Strong jaw, dark hair, eyes like winter storms. The sight of him used to make her heart stutter. Now it makes her blood sing with something colder. Their eyes meet. His face goes white. "Impossible," he breathes. She walks down the center of the hall, every step measured, deliberate. Wolves shift uneasily on either side, their instincts screaming conflicting messages. Prey. Predator. Submit. Attack. None of them move. "Hello, Ronan," she says, and her voice fills the space like smoke. "Did you miss me?" The alpha, Ronan's father, steps forward. "You were human. You couldn't have survived." "I was many things," she interrupts, and the casual dismissal in her tone makes several wolves bristle. "Servant. Outcast. Your son's rejected mate." She stops 10 feet from the alpha's dais. "But human. That was your mistake, not mine." Ronan finds his voice. "You should be dead." "I was," she agrees. "You killed the girl you rejected. What came back is something else entirely." The alpha demands answers. She gives him history instead. She tells them about the first lunars, the moon-blessed bloodline the packs tried to erase because they feared power they couldn't control. She tells them how rejection awakened what should have stayed dormant. How their cruelty became the forge that reforged her. "You're lying," Ronan says, but his voice wavers. "Am I?" She turns her gaze on him fully, and this time she doesn't hide the silver glow behind her eyes. "Then why can't you look away? Why does your wolf whimper in your chest like a scolded pup?" His hands clench. "You're not my mate anymore. I rejected you." "Yes, you did." She smiles, and it's a terrible thing. "You severed our bond and cast me out to die. But rejection doesn't erase what I am, Ronan. It freed me from being yours. Now I belong to something much older." The alpha steps forward, authority radiating from him. "You will leave our territory. Now." She doesn't move. "Or what?" she asks softly. "You'll force me." "Try." The challenge hangs in the air. The alpha's eyes flash gold as his wolf surges forward. Dominance rolls off him in waves, the kind of presence that makes weaker wolves drop and bare their throats. She breathes it in like summer air. Then she speaks. "Kneel." The alpha of the northern pack falls to his knees in his own hall, in front of his entire pack, brought down by a single word from the girl they threw away. The sound of his knees hitting stone echoes like a death knell. Chaos erupts. Wolves shift, snarling, surging forward to defend their alpha. She doesn't flinch. "Stop." The command detonates through the room. Every wolf freezes mid-lunge, their bodies betraying them, obeying a power that predates their pack laws by centuries. She walks to where the alpha kneels, his face contorted with rage and humiliation and something that looks like fear. "You built your pack on strength," she says, her voice carrying to every corner. "But you forgot that strength comes in many forms. You forgot what the moon values most." She crouches to meet his eyes. "And now you'll remember." She turns to Ronan. He's still standing, but barely. The bond is gone, But her power affects him differently, deeper, more personal. She can see the regret starting to bloom behind his eyes, the horrible understanding of what he destroyed. You rejected me because I was weak, she says. Because I couldn't shift. Because I didn't fit your idea of what a Luna should be. He starts. She rises, addressing the entire pack. I didn't come back for revenge. I came back to show you what you lost. She doesn't take the pack by force. She doesn't need to. Over the next 3 days, wolves begin to approach her not in challenge, but in supplication. Omegas who were treated like dirt. Betas passed over for promotions. Young wolves tired of the old brutal hierarchy. They kneel before her, not because she commands it, but because they choose to. The alpha's power fractures. Ronan watches his father's authority crumble, and with it, his own inheritance. On the 3rd night, Ronan comes to her alone. I'm sorry, he says, and the words sound like they're being dragged out of him with hooks. She looks at him, really looks, and sees the boy who might have loved her if he'd been brave enough. But bravery came too late. I know you are, she says. But sorry doesn't unmake choices, Ronan. You had the moon's gift in your hands, and you threw it away because it didn't look how you expected. What happens now? He asks. She considers the question. She could destroy them. Could take the pack and reshape it in her image. Could make Ronan pay for every moment of suffering. But revenge is such a small, finite thing. Now, she says, I leave. I'm building something new, a place where strength isn't measured in teeth and claws alone. Where the moons chosen aren't discarded for being different. She turns to go, then pauses. You'll never see me again, Ronan. But every time you look at the moon, you'll remember what you lost. And that will be punishment enough. She walks away from the northern pack for the 2nd time. This time, she's not running. She's claiming her destiny. Her story doesn't end. It's just the beginning. Subscribe to the channel as part 2 of the story will be dropping soon.